going to fall a little bit on deaf ears, but I have to think of this as a full supply chain, right? If we start carving out one thing, we're going to say, okay, we're going to fix this one thing, and then not realize the downstream effects of all of the other things, right? So we talk about like not having the chassis, not being able to return the empty. Well, why? It's because we bought too much. Then we have all of the wrong things, and so all the warehouses are full. So we have no place to put them, so we put them in pop-up yards, but then they sit there. Then we say, well, why can't the rail take them? Well, nobody's picking up their stuff at the inland rail ramps. Why aren't they picking up their stuff? Because they have no chassis. Why aren't they picking up chassis? Because they're sitting underneath loads that can't go to the freaking... And so we have to stop singularly pointing out one thing or the other and looking at it a holistic view of what can we do. And I don't have the answers for that, but I know that I am a part of a few groups that are looking at this from at least a corridor position of California up to its borders and saying, what do we invest in now? How do we get this corridor working back and forth? And when you talk about the rails, how do we get the rail cars back and forth where it's not a one in, one out situation, where we're actually being fluid? So the first thing I talk about is just velocity. We can't keep saying we have a shortage. It's not just a shortage, it's velocity. The things aren't moving fast enough, right? So I don't know if this is another maybe panel that you can do or whatever, but it's talking about the full supply chain and talking about velocity and how do we move things just that inch faster. If we can get something turned in an hour faster over the grand scale of however many boxes we're doing in this port complex, it's a lot of time that we would save, right? So same thing with the rail cars. If we can just get in one more train and one more train out, that's 225 boxes that we're not having to deal with. So I would suggest that as our next thing is just looking at the corridor and thinking about how do we look at projects across this corridor to make it foot. And one thing might be an inland port.